What is your thoughts on this current Red Sox team? Do you think they'll keep this up in the second half?
The Red Sox might be good. And that would make some people look smart because in March, when I was covering the Mets for Newsday and we were doing our season predictions, I picked the Red Sox to win the AL East. So I think at this point, winners of 10 in a row, they're three back of the Blue Jays. I probably got to stick with that prediction, right? Uh, but the division is right there for the taking. The Blue Jays aren't that scary. The Yankees aren't that scary. And maybe they don't see the Red Sox as scary either, and that's a reasonable take. But they've won 10 in a row. We're going to learn a lot about the Red Sox in the first week and a half coming out of the break because they're going to play the three first place National League teams: Cubs, Phillies, and then home to host the Dodgers, which should be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a very interesting and eventful 2 weeks leading up to the trade deadline for sure.
What is a successful trip or group of series out of those three series? Is it, hey, if they win one of those three series, but they don't get swept, is that successful? Oh, because they're a young team. It feels like they have like some built-in excuses. Bregman's coming back. What's successful?
Yeah. If you can manage even a winning record in those 9 games and go 5-4, I think they'd sign up for that in a heartbeat. Even 4-5, a losing record a little bit, they're probably still holding a playoff spot at the end of it, going into a series with the Twins, which is their last one before the deadline. So 4-5, 5-4 for sure. And we'll see what they're made out of. As you said, they have a lot of young players, so the range of potential outcomes is wider than normal. Not only for this week and a half, but the next 2.5 months. So we'll see what those guys got.
Tim, I'm doing the Red Sox game on Saturday in Chicago, so I
Yeah,
saw the pitching matchups, and it's Giolito on Friday, who's been pitching unbelievably well since he came back, and then Brayan Bello is on Saturday against Imanaga. What a great pitching matchup! 2 months ago, you might not have said that, maybe on one side, but
yeah.
not the other. What have these two guys done to make them so valuable and just so awesome for the Red Sox?
It's been fascinating to see because when I showed up in early June, neither guy was very good. Giolito looked terrible. He had like a 6.5 ERA and 7 starts since returning from the injured list, and now he has a .7 ERA in half a dozen starts. So it's been a pretty remarkable turnaround. Both guys, it's a little different. For Giolito, it is all goes back to a bullpen session in early June at Yankee Stadium when he locked in on some what Andrew Bailey, the pitching coach, called biomech callouts. So basically, they're high tech guys looking at the super slow mo video. Made some recommendations to Giolito and got him back to his delivery and his mechanics from when he was quite good in really early this decade through the first half of 2023. Even got him back to where he was, and he said this is the most locked in he has ever felt in his major league career as far as being able to make adjustments inning to inning or even at bat to at bat, pitch to pitch. With Bello, it's a little different because we might just be seeing the growth of a young guy who may have been rushed to the majors a couple of years ago, did a lot of learning at the game's highest level, which is not easy to do, took his lumps for sure, and now is starting to pitch like the top prospect the Mets, the Red Sox thought they had a couple of years ago. And is he going to be normally a low threes ERA guy? I don't know, but in a half of a season, which isn't that small of a sample anymore, that's where he's at. And over the past month plus, he's been even better than that. So, Bello's just getting better as opposed to throwing it back to when he was better, like Giolito is.
And these pitchers are doing this with way below average defense behind them. They've given up the second most unearned runs of any team. And the other team is obviously the Colorado Rockies, who were just in Fenway and had 21 wins. Does their biomechanical lab have any flow issues with, or figure out how to biomechanically have their fielders field the ball any better?
It's so interesting because on the whole, the defense is not great, and the errors are there, and the unearned runs are a disaster. And then on an individual basis, they are nasty at some spots. Ceddanne Rafaela, amazing at center field. Willie Abreu, great in right field. Duran, pretty good in left. I think a big part of improving the defense comes up the middle in the infield. And the defense has been better as the Red Sox have played better in recent weeks. Funny how that works, right? Christian Campbell, who shot through the minors and opened the season as the second baseman, got a big contract right off the bat, was really bad at second base for a couple of months. And then they sent him down to AAA. And now they have Marcelo Meyer there. And Meyer is much more sound defensively, can play anywhere in the infield. And if he is the most days second baseman the rest of the way, they'll be much better off defensively. At shortstop, Trevor Story, I didn't see Trevor Story early in the season when he was playing regularly for the first time in really a couple of years after some brutal injury luck. But to hear him describe it, to hear Alex Cora describe it, being in the flow of a season for the first time in a while has allowed him to play better defense and have that, almost stylish free-form flow at shortstop. So up the middle, defensively, they're looking a lot better. So I would expect the defense the rest of the way to be better than what it was early in the season.
Would you expect them to trade from any of their big leaguers? Because the other part of it is they also have all of Rafi Devers' money that they could put towards somebody else. So is there a Duran? Obviously is there, but there's some big league talent on the field that's young, and people are like, well, you always trade young talent.
Sure. They are willing to trade a corner outfielder, Jarren Duran, Willie Abreu, but they're not going to do it just for the sake of doing it and alleviating what some might view, including myself, as a glut of outfielders or a logjam in the outfield. Right now, on a short-term basis, 2.5 months this season, they are comfortable having those four guys, Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, Ceddanne Rafaela, Willie Abreu, and just rotating them as necessary. But if some team comes along and says, hey, here's a proposal that will make your major league team immediately better for your playoff race, we'll take Duran, the Red Sox are going to jump on that if it's a good deal. So those guys are available, yes. Do I expect a trade to happen in the next 2 weeks? I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's certainly possible. The Red Sox are willing to listen.
It just surprises me that they would trade from one of their strengths, but I guess that's what you have to do as a team. Would they trade? I mean, Duran seems to be the name we keep possibly hearing over and over and over again. Did he piss somebody off in Boston? Because I thought they loved him in Boston. Why is it him? Why is it? I mean, they can't move Yoshida, obviously, who we haven't even mentioned. They're not going to trade Anthony, right? But why is it Duran? I thought people in Boston loved Duran.
Duran is very popular among fans. He is when MLB came out with their list of most popular jerseys of the first half a few days ago, Duran was the only Red Sox player on it. Fans love him, largely. He was amazing last year, not as good this year. But if you look at the outfield picture right now for the Red Sox, Roman Anthony's not going anywhere. We know that. Rafaela, not going anywhere. We know that. And that leaves two guys, their corner outfielders, Duran and Abreu. And both of those guys are sort of in the same bucket as far as, they can be had if you're willing to pay up as another team. Abreu's a little cheaper, more years of team control, Gold Glove right fielder. So maybe that makes him more desirable to keep and more difficult to pry away from the Red Sox, which leaves Duran, who's still a few years away from free agency himself, still a very good player himself, all that stuff. But if you look at it that way, that's why Duran would be the odd man out, even if, both corner outfielders or either corner outfielder theoretically could be dealt in the right trade.